Oh, yeah. Welcome back to a brand new music reaction. Well, this will be the fourth music reaction of this channel so far. I also do music myself. I have a brand new video out, music video out that I just released last week. Kind of simple video. It's not like too complicated or too advanced. I'm kind of a novice in the video aspect of music, but I'm pretty good in the lyrical aspect of music. So, but anyways, let's get to this reaction. This is going to be Tom MacDonald. This one's called, I believe, Woke World, and I don't think I've heard this one before. So this will be a totally brand new experience for me. So let's get into it, and let's hope that I can do a decent job. All right, let's go.
America is fallen, turned our men into women. Our billionaires get private islands where they're trafficking children. The flag is burning in the streets. We don't believe the politicians. We defunded the police and free speech has been restricted.
Oh, thought it was going to be a rap song. It's not a rap song, obviously. Like, I don't think I have to explain that unless you're an alien, maybe from another planet. If you're an alien, then yes, this is not a rap song. If you're a human, then obviously you know that. And so I think what it went off right off the top, right? It's talking about the Epstein files, right? You know, it's a big conspiracy that they don't really want to talk about, I don't think. And you know, it ties up so many people, and it basically breaks into the status quo. And unfortunately for a lot of Americans, it kind of exposes you to that inner part of your society that is just vile, that most people just, they don't want to believe. And I know that feeling because I have friends and family that they don't want to believe. I used to talk about this stuff for years, like the Epstein files, and going all the way back to the Biggest Secret by David Icke. You know, you go back and you you read that book, everything he broke down in that book is played out in the Epstein files, like almost verbatim, right? I read that book like around 20 years ago. And so 20 years ago, I've been telling people about that. So anyways, let's get back into it. So it's like, it is a hard reality. Most people don't want to acknowledge even exists, because it just destroys the innocence of the world, right?
America is fallen, turned our men into women. Our billionaires get private islands where they're trafficking children. The flag is burning in the streets. We don't believe the politicians. We defunded the police and free speech has been restricted. And Canada has fallen, their dollar ain't worth a buck. If you misgender someone there, you're getting fined or locked up. Trudeau censored they...
Oh my God. You know what? I was kind of waiting for this. I'm so glad that Tom talked about this, because I'm Canadian, like Tom, but I'm in Canada. And it's so true what he's saying right now. You cannot say certain things in Canada, right? Tom was smart to get the fuck out of Canada, right? Where he can thrive, and he can actually expand, and he can actually speak his mind, right? Like, half the shit that Tom has said, if he said it in Canada, he might actually get charged, right? Like, and that's just a crazy thing to think about, but it's something that, you know, I deal with every day, because I post on Twitter, X or whatever, and I make videos, and I post on other channels, and I post on Rumble and all this stuff, right? For the longest time, I couldn't even post on YouTube because everything I said would get freaking basically censored or shadow banned, right? And there was no point even trying to say anything, right? And now it is to that point where it's like, you better be very careful with what you say, because they're going to come and they're going to try to throw you in jail. You know what I mean? Somebody got fined, somebody out in British Columbia got fined like $750,000, right? Well, let me just turn this light. Oh, lights are out, but lights are back on. $750,000 this person got fined because all they said was there's only two genders. That's all they said. There's only two genders. Wow, it's like you're pointing out the most obvious thing, that anyone with a pair of eyes can look at humans and realize I only see two different genders on these humans. Physically, there's only two genders physically visible. Where is this third or fourth or fifth gender that people talk about? Where is it? Oh, it's just in their head. Well, that doesn't seem very fair now, does it? That's the country we live in now. You can't even basically state the most obvious truths. Otherwise, they're going to come, how dare you, right? And Trudeau, like, oh, I'm glad he's going to talk about Trudeau. Let me hear what he says first. But you know what? On my new album, I have an entire song that basically berates and fucks with Trudeau, and it's called Blackface Leader. Because if you know about Trudeau, you know that he likes to wear blackface, right? He's always liked to do stuff like that. He's just such a great guy, right? For the people, you know. And by the way, you know, he's dating Katy Perry, right? Who is, Katy Perry, she's one of these people, right? Oh, I see you through the triangle eye. The Eye of Horus. That's basically what it represents, right? One of the secret societies of ancient Egypt. Is that the Illuminati? Huh, weird that Mark Carney now, the new prime minister, comes out and says this is the new world order. Oh, wait a minute. So the current prime minister says it's the new world order. The former prime minister is dating an Illuminati slut, basically, right? And we're all supposed to believe at this point that it's all conspiracies, and even though they come right out and they say it, and they're doing the most obvious things to just reinforce everything that anyone's ever been saying about them, right? So it's like, huh. But again, let's get back to this song and let's just see where he goes here, because this is now deeply personal to me. And we'll see if he says any of the kind of things that I say in my diss song. I have a whole diss song to Trudeau, so let's see if he says any of the same things I say. Let's find out.
There you're getting fined or locked up. Trudeau censored the internet, then they banned half the guns. The trucker convoy was the last breath of freedom in their lungs. And the UK has fallen, getting woker every day. It's illegal immigrants throwing at.
And that's right. So what happened with the trucker strike? So the trucker strike was basically Canadians protesting the lockdowns during the COVID, right? Saying it was illegal, it was against the law, the government really didn't have a right, and everyone knows now, looking back, that yeah, the government really took everybody's fear and they used that to wield like a weapon against people, right? They literally did. And they froze people's bank accounts. They've probably fined people all kinds of millions of dollars, right? They literally turned the country into a welfare state. Every business had to lock down, and then you, as a business owner, you had to report. You had to fill out these reports every week just to get paid your welfare from the government of Canada. Now, how do I know this? Because I worked for the government of Canada for 10 years. I was working there when they were doing all of this. This is why I don't work there anymore, because I knew what they were doing was illegal. And it turns out it was deemed unconstitutional. But unconstitutional to me is the same as illegal, right? You're infringing on rights that I have, basically. You don't have the right to do that. You overstepped your rights, and you basically have been called out for it. And then they went back and they were like, well, we don't think so. We want the Supreme Court of Canada to make a determination, right? Thinking that they got those guys in the bag, and guess what? The Supreme Court came back and said same thing. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. Like what you did, you basically are no better than any fucking dictator. You're like a Maduro, or I want to say a Maduro. I don't know who's a Duro. Is there a Maduro dictator out there? Probably is, but anyways. And now he's getting into the stuff in the UK. I've been waiting kind of for Tom to talk about this stuff, because I haven't heard him talk about these issues as much. I think a lot of the stuff he's talked about is more geared to America, but this is the woke world. So this is about the world, and I don't talk about the videos a lot, but it's got that water world kind of vibe to it. If you've ever watched that old movie Waterworld, right, where the whole world has basically become just one big freaking ocean. You know, the people are all dressed kind of like that, and that's makes sense, right? If the whole world has gone to shit, and this is trying to show that this is a dystopian world, like this is what happens with the world once it goes to shit, basically. I'm feeling it so far, so let's keep going.
Into faces, protests and riots, COVID record inflation. The people lost their freedom, Great Britain lost its greatness. America to Europe, across the globe. Every country, every city, every neighborhood and home. It's infecting everything and everybody that we know, so just say it. Screw everything woke. Say it at the top of your lungs, don't let it go. Scream it out into the streets, I promise that you're not alone. Go ahead, say it with your chest way down deep in your soul, but just say it. Screw everything woke. Right.
Yes. It's kind of true, because the woke has infected everything. Like, just, it's so insane. You know, like, I see it myself. I see it every day. Like, you know, it's hard for me to even watch things on Twitter, because I see so much shit on Twitter that just makes me, like, so freaking angry. And the crazy part is, it's like, if I speak out about things that other people are doing in other countries, I'm the one who gets targeted, right? You know, or even in our country, like in Canada, the crazy shit is happening in Canada, right? But you can't even talk about it. You know, you got Muslim fucking grooming gangs operating in Canada. They've already broken up now 2 of these gangs in Canada, right? One where they were basically raping like 3 girls, you know, and torturing them, and had them, you know, confined into a room and like a prisoner and all this bullshit, and taking turns and gang raping them and all this shit, right? And what happens? Well, they all get let out on bail, right? It's like, let's repeat all the same. Oh shit! Just stopped. This will happen a few times. So 3, 2, 1. Yeah, this happens a lot, so just be aware of that on this channel. At least once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times a lady on this channel. So, but yeah, that's what they did in the UK, is they covered up and they basically hid from the public what was going on with the rape gangs, basically, to the point where like thousands of girls all over the UK were all getting freaking raped on a daily basis, and the authorities just covered it up because they thought, you know what? It's better to just cover it up so the people don't find out, because the people will get mad. And then when they get mad, guess who they're going to turn on? They're going to turn on the government, and they're going to turn on basically the Muslims that are doing it. And we don't want that, because that would be bad. So it's better just to hide it from the people that are the victims, so they don't actually realize the scale and the scope of what's actually happening to them on like a systemic, system-wide, countrywide basis, daily basis, right? And this is what we have in Canada now. We have these same woke fucking politicians that are going to cover up Muslim rape gangs. They're going to hide what's going on. They're going to give them shitty little lenient sentences, letting them out on bail. Oh, you let the guy out on bail who was just torturing and raping a minor? Huh. What kind of message are you sending? Are you trying to let people know that it's totally acceptable in society to go out and do this, right? I wonder if I would get released on bail if I did the same thing. Or do I have to be a Muslim in order to get let out on bail after I gang rape and torture and drug a minor? Ask yourself whose best interests are they looking out for? Not your best interest, right? You're the victim, but then guess what? You better shut up and say nothing, or you're going to get censored. You're going to go to jail. Look, that's what happened in Britain, right? 12,000 people got arrested, put in jail just because they said something on the internet. Meanwhile, they got 100,000 freaking gang rapists just walking around the country free. because the authorities are afraid of them. That's really what it comes down to. They're afraid. And now it's too late, because guess what? Now the people are waking up, and now you got problems in Britain. It's like, what did you think? You think the British people were going to just lie down and let them get stomped on, right? Yeah, that was a very dumb thing to think, and that's not going to happen in any Western country. I can promise that, right? There's going to be awakening, and then you're going to see the Crusades all over again, and then you're going to get the same results as last time, and then there'll be a lot of crying in the world all over again, and oh well, guess good just has to do what good does. I can see you fight. I want to catch this.
Screw everything woke.
Rise up, I can see your fire. You and me, we can burn what they built to the ground. Burn everything woke. Rise up, can't let them divide us. You and me, we can burn this woke world down. Burn everything woke.
America is fallen, woke became a disease.
I like that. Oh, cut off. 3, 2, 1. That's a pretty simple chorus there, but you know, you got to understand when Tom does music, like a song like this is a more of a message song, right? That's how I would describe it. It's more about the message. So it's not going to have like really super crazy, like lyrical. You know, you don't have to break down a lot of bars and stuff. It's not meant to be that way. So, oh, went off again. 3, 2, 1. Well, this is gonna suck maybe, because I think what happens, it gets kind of full and then it has a hard time just keep on going. So we'll see. I might have to make this a 2-part video, but
They made trillions off of
just keep
mandatory
playing,
lethal
see how much
vaccines. The
far-
anthem plays and half the
far I
country is
can
still
get.
taking a knee. Blacks and whites fighting over whose life matters the least. And Canada has fallen. People can't afford to pay for food. The media's all liberal. It's nothing but the fake news. There's oil in the ground and pipelines they refuse to use. You're only heard if you're indigenous or LGBTQ.
That's right. That's right. Again, it's just a reflection on the whole system, right? Where we're talking about the Carney and Trudeau, they're building this system. This is, you know, people like to go cry about conspiracies, but this was always the plan of the Illuminati, the New World Order, the one world government, right? If the digital society, cashless society, anyone who's done research on this, right? All the things that are happening right now, these were the goals of the Illuminati, the New World Order. These were the goals, right? The goals were literally to turn North America into a third world country, right? What's the fastest way to do that? Well, just import millions and millions of people from the third world. And that's what our country has done. Literally in the last like 10 years, we've imported around 10 million people, you know, and most of them from third world countries. So now instead of 30 million people, you got 40 million people. That means 1 in 4 people in Canada is from the third world. They bring their third world values, which a lot of them don't align with Canadian values, right? And they have a lot of disdain for Canadians as well, and they have no intention to assimilate. It's all around a fucking just shit show, and they drag our country down. They're killing people all over the country just by being reckless, you know, especially driving. Like you don't understand how many immigrants in Canada are killing people on the roads. Like, because they don't follow the rules of Canadian, the Canadian rules. They follow the rules from India. And what are the rules in India? If the road's clear in front of you, you just go forward. There's no lights. You don't look at the lights, right? This is how they're driving here, and they're T-boning and killing innocent Canadians every freaking day almost. You know, especially the ones in the semi-trucks and tractor trailers, right? Like, you know, our country's going to shit.
Australia has fallen, Ireland been up in flames, people rioting and dying, divided, fighting for change. And from Canada to Finland, Denmark, back to USA, it's a woke world. That's what we're standing up against. America to Europe, across the globe. Every country, every city, every neighborhood and home. It's infecting everything and everybody that we know. So just say it. Screw everything woke. Say it at the top of your lungs, don't let it go. Scream it out into the streets. I promise that you're not alone. Go ahead, say it with your chest way down deep in your soul, but just say it. Screw everything woke.
Rise up, I can see your fire. You and me, we can burn what they built to the ground.
Alright, might have to cut it down, so make it a two-parter. Let's see. 3, 2, 1. All right, back again. So we'll cut that off as part 1 because too many technical problems, but we'll be able to come back. Oh yes, one more to just stick it right in my back and twist that knife. So beautiful. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we'll conclude it here. I'll come back and I'll finish it. We're at the 227 mark. 227. Let's remember that later. Aw, yeah. Welcome back to part 2 of the Tom MacDonald Woke World reaction. Now, obviously there was technical difficulties at the end. Let's put it politely, shall we? Some technical difficulties, and you know, that was also a lesson in how to try to keep a calm demeanor when inside you want to explode and blow up the entire planet. That's right, self-discipline. You know, I should just re-record it, but you know what? You know, sometimes you have to work hard. I'm going to have to do some pretty fancy editing to make this work. But you know what? Let's get this finished while we still can.
Can't let them divide us. You and me, we can burn this world down. Burn everything.
The whole world's fallen to the globalist elite. They want one God, one leader, one currency. It's the cigarettes, the vaccines, the food that you eat. Either way, the deep state wants you 6 feet deep.
Oh, what was I talking about earlier in part 1 of the video? It's so funny. I'm literally talking about the one world government, the cashless society, right? The New World Order. This is what Tom's talking about in this song here. He's not coming out and saying it like, you know, so blatantly, but he is basically, that's what he's talking about. They want everything to be monitored, everything to be tracked, everything to be controlled, everybody to have the equivalent of a chip, you know, to purchase. And then basically if you do anything like, say, your social credit score, your social justice warrior credit score is a negative score, then they can literally just turn your chip off, and guess what? You're effectively cut off from all legitimate society. And they want to get rid of cash, so that way you can't even go somewhere and pay for something in cash just to survive. And effectively, you know, I've always thought of it, it's just going to create two societies, right? You're going to have the one part of society where everybody does what they're supposed to do and they're allowed to stay within the grid, the actual grid of purchasing, right? And then people who are bad people, like me, who say the wrong things on social media, like me, you know, they'll cut me off and they'll say, you bad boy, you're not allowed to be a part of society anymore. And I'll be like, fucking great, you know, why would I want to be part of fucking a bunch of dipshit followers like that anyways, right? Like, oh, please give me a microchip and I'll just obey everything you tell me just to be able to survive. It's like, pass, right? You know, I'm a Canadian. I grew up with too much freedom to ever fall into some kind of society where basically I'm a slave or a prisoner or any of that nonsense, right? It's like, yeah, I'll die before that happens, or you'll die before that happens. Let's just fucking make that.
Fill your headphones with music, reinforcing their beliefs, and replace your own thoughts with the lies on TV. It's a woke world, and we won't survive if we're asleep. So wake up before you rest in peace.
I can see your fire. You and me.
That was another thing that I just said there, basically, right? I basically just said that they control the media, they control the corporations, they control the message that people see. So all it takes for them is to hide the truth, right? The UK grooming gangs, the Muslim rape gangs, right? Hide the truth and then gaslight people into thinking that no, that's not reality. And anyone who speaks out, put them in jail and censor them, right? So, and the news media, again, they cover everything up. They say no, and then you get the parliament people going, you know what, it's the far right. It's the far right, white supremacy. White supremacy is causing all these Muslims to basically gang rape all these young white girls. Yeah, you know what, that makes just so much sense. If I was some kind of a psychotic fucking animal, right? But that's what he's talking about. Just imagine if we had like a news media that told people the truth, like the actual truth. Every day you see stories up on TV about, grooming gangs, raping girls, and even not just them, all kind of pedophile fucking people. Like, these are people they're protecting on a massive scale, right? And they're trying to normalize it. This is the whole thing about the kids and the transgender. It's all about normalizing depravity, right? That's what it's all about. Because that's ultimately their beliefs and their God, right?
We can burn what they build to the ground. Burn everything wrong. Rise up, can't let them divide us. You and me, we can burn this world down. Burn everything wrong.
All right, not bad. That's interesting because coming up this week he's got... Shut up. Anyways, this week he's got two did he got 2 new albums coming out, or he's got 1 new album coming out? I mean, 2 is a lot to ask for, right? Why don't you have 2 albums coming out? Like, but anyways, that's the song there. Great little track. Not what I expected at all. I was totally in my rap mode, and it turned out to be the opposite. Overall, I think it's good. I think ultimately I like the Pray for the Left better if I'm comparing the two, and they're kind of similar, right? And they're soft, slow kind of rock and not too complicated, but I think I just like the Pray for the Left just overall better. I think the melody or the harmony or whatever. This one was good too, but that one I thought was more if I had to pick between the two of them, right? So, but this one here has got all kinds of all the right messaging, all the right topics. Again, like I said in the first part 1, it's like he does talk about a bunch of things that I haven't quite ever heard him talk about in any of his other songs, even though a lot of times I can see it's implied, but this time he gave specifics, right? He's talking about Trudeau, he's talking about the lockdowns in Canada, he's talking about the trucker strike and how it was deemed to be illegal, unconstitutional by the government, right? And that led to me ultimately losing my job at the government in the bigger picture, because I ended up getting very sick because of the lockdowns, right? And getting depressed and stuff like that, because I was literally like a little prisoner in a little bachelor apartment for almost a year, before I finally escaped, and barely with my life. Like, that's a whole other story for another time, but that was all real shit that everybody went through, and it's, I'm happy to hear Tom actually talk about it in detail, name names, right? Talk about the shit. Like I said, he's talking about the New World Order. I mean, the new prime minister came right out and said this is part of the new world order, right after he was hanging out with China of all people. Remember I said social credit scores, right? So people don't understand really what all that is, but it really comes down to it's just all a big system of control about the few elites controlling the masses, right? And I always thought it's like the masses at any point can take over the elites. They really can. Just got to have the will to do it, right? And right now, the will to do it's not quite there, but it's getting there. And I think the harder they push this, the more control they try to do, eventually how it will just blow up right in their face, I think, right? So, but anyways, that's a good track. We'll leave it at that. That's a pretty strong reaction. That's a deep, lots of, heck, I was probably just as controversial as Tom was in that reaction. So, you know what? But if you want, check out my album. I have a new album. I have a new video that I released last week. That video is called Oppo That, and that's the first song off of my second album, my sophomore album. So you can purchase that. You can get a CD. That's why I make these videos, especially with Tom, because a lot of his fans buy CDs. And I saw him say something about his new one's going to be digital, and I was like, damn it. But I think he'll still have a lot of physical copies or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. But anyways, anywho, we'll call it there, and later.